I first want to address the confrontation that occurred at the recent special town council meeting. Each member's conduct reflects on the entire body, and professionalism should be maintained at all times. I urge council members to reflect on your behavior and its impact on community trust and participation. Today, we're talking again about an issue I care about: wage increases. I shared my perspective at Monday's meetings, and I'm here only 2 days later at another meeting to do the same. All town council members want to increase pay, especially for first responders. I know that because they've said that. Some want to take a more measured approach, and others are rushing to get it done before Election Day. Last month, the majority of council voted to increase the millage rate on our property taxes to the maximum level allowed. Last Friday, a special town council meeting was announced to discuss wage increases, which left department heads and staff only one business day to develop a plan to present at Monday's special town council meeting. That seems like a rushed process that allowed for little public input or even input from other town staff. The surplus to pay for wage increases wouldn't be available until taxes are paid in January, and staff needs to take the time and have the opportunity to develop the framework for the new policies to roll out. Why the rush? Why can't you use the regular budget process to be more thoughtful on what we can do to attract and retain our employees? There are other things that can be considered along with wage increases. Take the time to ask these department heads what resources they need to best do their jobs. On September 18th, there was a special HR committee meeting to review the Evergreen wage study. On the 22nd of September, there was a special town council meeting to discuss the millage rate. On October 6th, a special town council meeting to discuss salary increases. And today, on October 8th, another special HR meeting to discuss wage increases. That's 4 special meetings in between our regular town council meetings. That's a lot for the public to keep up with.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Ellen Moore. I live at 1469 Gunnison Street in Carolina Park, and I'm here to just say, listen to the residents. They are likely sending you countless emails and messages about what they prefer you do with the $5.3 million that was previously approved with the increase in the millage rate. And no matter what happens, that money is intended to go toward increases to our staff and our employees, and not voting today to ensure that that 4% increase is appropriated to those first responders immediately is wrong. And the residents of Mount Pleasant will let you know further once you make your vote and recommendation today. And we'll show up on Tuesday at the town council meeting because this is important to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Maybe a record for human resources since I've been on 3 public comments.
If you want to see a record, sir, I'm Kevin Curdane, Dunes West. If you want to see a record, look at the emails I've sent on firefighter pay and police pay for the last 10 years. I probably got the record there. I also have the record on being ignored, which is pretty pathetic. Don't act like we're for raises to Mount Pleasant Town Council when you won't do it. It's time to act. Enough of the talk. I'm going to read something from a highly ranked police officer. It says, if you don't pay them now, you'll pay them later by initial hiring costs. Equipment and uniforms and other associated costs with hiring new personnel. The older and seasoned employees become fatigued from the lack of personnel retention. The top positions get paid well, and most of the officers and firemen can't even afford to live in Mount Pleasant unless they're originally from here. Even that's questionable. With today's market prices, they can't afford to hardly rent here. Now, Mr. Tinky, you told me you're a supporter of firefighters, but I noticed the other Monday, you're carrying water for the mayor. He's a very anti-first responder individual. He's appeasing a far-left base that is not the majority of this town, trying to defund the police. You colluded with him with that sign. If it's real, maybe John made it up. I tend to doubt it because of the way you tried to swat it away from him. It's all on video. I'd like to hear an explanation of that, but enough is enough. We need to pay people. Those of you who wanted a committee hearing, now you got it. Push it to council next week. Now, as far as the people who want to say, oh, let the chiefs tell us what to do. Your chiefs are pressured not to tell you the truth. The town administrator pressures them. Okay, if we filled this room with 30 firefighters a couple of years ago to talk about raises. You know what happened the next day? Police chief called a couple of cops in, scolded them for coming to the meeting. Fire chief sent an email. It's really not in your best interest to come to the meeting. I think that's a threat. I think that, essentially advocating for raises and staffing is a safety issue. They're whistleblowers, and it's probably a violation of federal law if they're told not to participate. So maybe we'll have to get them here again on Tuesday and fill this place to the roof. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Going once, going twice. Public comment is closed. Next agenda item is discussion and possible action on implementing a 4% wage adjustment for first responders, phase 2 of the 2025 wage study. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I know you've been working hard and we appreciate that. Just a quick mention. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I encourage everybody to wear some pink this month. So you're close, but thank you.
Pink shoes.
Thank you. All right, proceed.
Okay. These are really the same slides that you've seen previously. This has the overall cost breakdown, and we're talking now about the 4% increase, the last highlighted item. So looking at the next slide, this is the fire department numbers that we talked about previously. We've added in some more detail, updating it based on what you have already approved as far as the incentives. So if you look at that last column, you can see what the Goose Creek number is at the top. Then the first green box has what the Town of Mount Pleasant base wage is. That column is for the bachelor's degree. So we added in the $3,000 education incentive that you previously approved. That brings it to a total of $54,000 and change. And then you can see there what the difference is that remains from our wages here to our competitor. Then looking down, it's adding in there the increased incentives that you did approve. So if you add in the EMT and the firefighter, which Goose Creek, for example, rolls into that, they're required. And here they're not required, but we do offer the training during that initial training period. So it's offered. It is, for the most part, obtained successfully during that time. So if we add those in based on...
Excuse me, is that
Yes.
One person would have both of those
Yes.
qualifications?
Yes.
Okay, okay. And we did not until the last vote. This was just added.
So they were in the incentives previously. You increased the amounts of them.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. So adding in those new amounts, then that brings us to 59,000 and change. And it then in red below that, it still shows the difference between where we are and our highest competitor. And then below that are some calculations about adding 1%, 4%. If you add the 4% that's currently proposed, it brings us to the 61,752. And as you can see, it brings us just slightly above the Goose Creek number there for a bachelor's degree.
Do we know what percentage of our... Well, I have two questions. Does anybody have any questions? I'm sorry. Do we know what percentage of our firefighters have bachelor's degree compared to associate's degree? And then I guess I have to ask the chief. I know you're hiding back there, but you know you're coming up here today. Does this encourage, it's important for you, I'm assuming, for them to have the bachelor's degree, the FF2, the EMT. Does this encourage our firefighters to become more educated and I don't know if that's the right way to put that, so I apologize if it is, but to gain that bachelor's degree, and is it helpful?
Okay, good. Okay, so yeah, I had it at around 43% that have degrees total, but she's broken it out for me a little better. So 15% have associates,
Okay.
and 35% have bachelor's degrees.
Okay.
So to answer your other question, yes, sir, I do believe that. The EMT, the firefighter, the education incentive, stuff that we've been kind of talking about for some time now. And to get those increases, I think it does encourage people to either one, if they have a degree from the outside, to look at Mount Pleasant as a place to work now that we have this solidified degree structure, but then also encouraging people to become EMTs and paramedics. We offer the EMT and the firefighter 2 in our recruit program. So within about 8 weeks for the EMT or 20 weeks for the firefighter 2, they can gain that incentive as part of the recruit system. But yes, sir, I do feel like this encourages people, but also gets people to look at Mount Pleasant as a viable option.
And that makes them even more of an asset to the citizens and business owners of Mount Pleasant?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, we don't require a degree. We have a ton of great people that, this is a hands-on job, a task-oriented job, that have no trouble completing the job without a degree. And they do wonderful things. They go to paramedic school, which I think is probably even harder than college, to be honest. But yes, I mean, having that skill set of whatever they bring to the department, a business degree, an engineering degree, a physical fitness degree. We have some people that lead our physical fitness program that have those certifications. There's tons of places we can plug them in because we're such a diverse group that deals with so many different things that yes, sir, those things are an asset to us.
And the last thing for me on this is I've heard a lot of other departments are matching. So you can just cross right over if you've got a bachelor's and you go right to them with a bachelor's and they're beating us on salary. And could you explain that a little bit? How does that?
Yeah, and I think this structure, especially now that we have this education structure built in, we had the associates before, we had the bachelor's before, we've been able to add master's degree and then up those levels. It helps us build that out to where we're very similar across the board to the area departments now.
Okay. Mr. Tinky?
I think that's exactly the reason why we do wage surveys the way we did and why we did it in 2023. I think it's excellent, it's deliberative, it's ongoing, and I think it's an excellent result that we were able to get this information. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rambo, thank you.
All right, so you can see the numbers there. If you don't have any other questions, I'll move on to police.
I just want to point out to the public that is so important on the bottom, that paramedic, that tech rescue, and that hazmat. And I know that's already through, but that is so important.
Yes, those are newly established incentives
Yeah.
that y'all approved.
Good job, council and staff on that.
Any other questions? Okay. Moving on to police, we similarly added in the incentives that you approved. So if you look at the last column for the bachelor's degree, you can see what the city of Charleston offers. And then in the first green box, you can see what the town's base wage is. I've listed the $3,000 incentive that you approved for a bachelor's degree, and that brings it to about $61,000 and change. And you can see below that in red the difference that remains from what we're paying to what our competitor pays. And then below that, you can see the 4% increase. And if you add that on, it's included in that next green box. We're at $63,754. And below that, you can see the difference that remains from us to our competitor. Some of that ground could be made up with the incentives that you approved that are listed below. But as it stands, that's the difference in the base wage. And I know you had asked about in fire. For police, 55% have bachelor's degrees, 16% have associates, and 11% have masters.
Thank you very much. Chief, would you like to add anything? Or if anybody has any questions for you, obviously. Mr. Tinky?
Questions?
I just have one question on the 4% increase. Those were increases in positions, not the number of people. So as I understand it, that the positions we're focusing in on for today's discussions are 17 positions that could be more people than that, which could be roughly how many people were we talking about?
About 193 in police and 133 in fire.
Okay. So a significant number of people are encompassed in these wage increases that we've done both for police and fire. So even though it shows 17 positions, it's hundreds of people that are being taken care of. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chief. I mean, I think you guys have presented such great information. We appreciate it. We appreciate the comp study. Any other questions? Or any other slides for us? I think that was it, yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I would like to make a motion that we move to recommend approval and immediate implementation of a 4% wage adjustment for police and fire as recommended in this wage study. And that's
Okay.
and just for clarification, that's a recommendation to full council for Tuesday night's meeting.
I appreciate that. We have a motion. We have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That is, if we just take a moment, that's pretty awesome, by the way. So, okay. Anybody have anything else for today?
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, do you, Mike, go ahead.
No, I think my understanding too is that as we did this wage survey, we looked at a number of other positions that are having to do with safety, whether they be cybersecurity or other areas, whether it's our disaster relief, but they are already taken care of in the wage survey and the first motion that we made. So you can rest assured that if you're an employee in the town, that you're being taken care of in those positions, and the public can know you're being taken care of in those positions that are vital to your safety. Thank you.
Mr. Rambo?
So use a unanimous vote. I'm good.
Okay. Well, I've got goosebumps. I appreciate everybody's work. I appreciate the citizens for coming out. We've received a lot of emails. I appreciate our first responders, first and foremost. I hope that council has enough time, and they will, to look at this and make their decision. So we will see on Tuesday night. And with that, if we have nothing else, we are adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.